Hello, this is video number 2 for week 14. So if you haven't yet watched video number 1, go ahead and watch that. That'll give you some information logistically about the end of the semester and an intro to metacognition and a brief overview of your A4 paper. In this video, I'm going to go a little more in depth, but try to keep it short. So I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint. Give me a second here. Okay, so like I said in the first video, one part of your A4 is a revision of your A2 paper. You have to focus on major issues. Don't focus on things like sentence errors and grammar. Even if I pointed some of them out, it's great to change those. I appreciate that. You have to focus on major issues. Like I showed you in the first video, it should be in track changes or in the paper itself, but with a different color font, so that I can see what's different. And if you delete a section, put that, whatever you deleted, in a track change comment so that I can see what's gone, so you can get credit for taking out something that wasn't helping your paper. So again, yeah, not surface stuff, but core elements. And you'll see in my marginal comments and in my end note that I'll be talking about some of those core things. Okay, so the other part of your A2 is the reflection metacognition letter. Right here, I've just put the beginning and end. It'll have an intro and it'll have a conclusion. In the intro, I want you to reflect on what you've learned about writing, reading, communication, and talk about areas in which you've grown or not grown. If there's areas in which you were hoping to improve and you didn't for whatever reason, it's helpful for me to know that. In the conclusion, like I mentioned in the last video, give some advice to incoming CO150 students about how to be successful, and you might talk about specifically in terms of a remote class and COVID. Another part of your letter relates to your revision. So you're doing a revision, and this part of the body of your letter is about that revision. I want you to pick 2 of the revisions that you made, 2 substantial ones. You restructured your argument paper, or you clarified the way that your evidence broadly relates back to your thesis, for example. Those might be things you talk about. And I want you to write about them in this part of the letter. So it's separate from the revision. You do the revision, that's on the paper itself. This is in the letter that you write me. It's part of the body of the letter. You talk about them. Of course, if you got a 92 on this paper, you might not have 2 really major things that you need to work on, but just pick 2 things. All of you had at least 2 things that I pointed out that you could work on, and so you talk about them here. I'm not going to go through this one too much, just because it's long and it's on the assignment sheet. So you got to look at the assignment sheet, but this is that positionality or metacognition reflection section. And so it'll ask you questions. You don't have to answer all the questions in this section. You won't have enough space for that. In fact, you could only answer 1 if you want. And remember, we're workshopping this. So don't write stuff that you aren't comfortable sharing, or if you're comfortable sharing it with me but not your classmates, you can leave this bit out of the workshop. That's fine. Just workshop the other parts of your letter. But in this, you'll talk about what motivates you, how your habits affect your learning or your life, and how certain outside factors might have affected you. There's all kinds of questions. They're trying to lead you to do some reflection and some thinking about your ways of thinking and your habits and ways that you might change going forward. So these are the assignments that you have the process work for this week. So there's a practice revision that you do on your A1 and a draft of part of your letter. You can see the details for this on Canvas. There's the spots to turn them in. They're both due on Friday. So make sure that you do those, turn them in. Again, if you don't get the process work done, it won't cost you, because I'll count just your paper grade. But if you do get this process work done and there's not a lot of it, you can get an easy 100 on that part of your paper grade, and it'll really boost you at the end here and might help you achieve the grade that you want in this course, because this is a short unit, but it's a substantial assignment in terms of the % of your grade, and so it's a good opportunity to boost your grade. All right, so like I said in the last video, if you have questions, send me a message and/or come see me at the optional Zoom class, one of the 4 sections of that, on Tuesday and Wednesday.